clarity, just knowing that there isn't a final answer yet, and that's enough clarity. And so I really do appreciate all of the different bits of insight that we got. Whether it was where Joe, I think, said I don't want to be sold. Right? He said don't sell me. What I want is a partner. I want somebody that will work with me. And don't talk about revenue, right?
Yeah.
Now, and Michelle, right, said, look, we work very closely with a partner, somebody that listens to us. And you can talk about accelerating revenues as well as maintaining costs. Again, Rosalind, I think Mike taught us a lot about the importance of treating this as a business, and some of our customers now as a business. And that's a little bit different from those that have been calling on caregivers, for so long that don't think about business. And again, Rosalind's, seek and find common ground. To me, I got to simplify stuff, and it's selfishly, it's for myself before it is talking to any of our people about it, because, as my predecessor once said, and I don't think you made it up, was, sometimes I have to close my eyes in order to see, and because I love to read, I think like most of us, just innately curious. And so, but I stopped many years ago thinking that the next thing I was going to read was going to make it all clear. And at some point is, you know enough to make your own judgments, about where things are going to be. And at some point is we stop waiting for someone else to explain it to us, because in some cases we know enough. And even if we want to know more, there's not more out there yet. So things have to be developed, and other things have to turn into new models. And but we're paid to be impatient. I get that, and so we want it all now. To me, I simplify, a lot of stuff we heard into like 3 categories. Is stuff that's hard to miss, stuff that's easy to miss, and stuff that we shouldn't miss. And what I would say, what's hard to miss, just because it's everywhere, is just the macroeconomic challenges. I mean, what's going on globally, what's going on in the U.S., just the economic challenges are, they're tough, right? And they're also not going to end anytime soon. The micro challenges, which is just all of us what we're dealing with in the healthcare system. And all of this existed well before, right, the recession. We all know, right? I mean, we've had doctors come to speak at our national meeting years before this economic collapse, because there were market forces that were putting pressure on this, separate from politicians that are helping. So there's the stuff that's hard to miss, and it's sort of the macro challenges, the micro challenges of the average $31 million loss for not-for-profit hospitals last year. There's the micro challenges. And when you look at physician offices and just the uncertainty in ACOs and CPTs, and right, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty there. But that's what's hard to miss. The stuff that I think is easy to miss, and we shouldn't let ourselves miss it, is that first of all, we're paid to solve problems, right? So as I tell our people, be careful what you wish for. If you're paid to solve problems and nobody has any problems, you're not going to get paid, right? So I mean, we're paid to solve problems. And, so to me, it seems weird to pray for problems. Maybe that's not the right thing to do. But to me, I do want enough problems, right? Pray for problems that are big enough to make your work purposeful, right? And complex enough to make it profitable. Because if everybody can solve it, you're not going to make very much money, right? So, and we're not talking about money from Greece. We're talking about you can't take care, whether you're on the front lines or serving those on the front lines, you can't take care of patients, you can't take care of people unless you've got, the resources to do it. So, so we're paid to solve problems, and so we're glad to have them. And, and the other bit of perspective I'd say that may be easy to miss when we all pay attention to all the incessant noises coming at us is this is not the hardest time that has existed for people to live. And my gosh, if you were listening, it would seem like it. I had this sort of conversation with my mother-in-law when she was visiting recently. And I mean, you just watch the news and you hear people make such naive statements about just the state of the world. And I would say, well, guess what? I mean, it just seems to me naive, borderline arrogance, right? We have it harder than anybody's ever had. Well, I'll tell you what, you go back like 50 years or so, right? And there was a world war going on with millions and millions of kids losing their lives, right? I mean, please, it's just embarrassing, to have we should have just a little bit of perspective when we talk about how tough it is and the problems that we're solving. It is absolutely not the toughest time. And sometimes I ask for people because, you know, you can just see the weight of the world on their shoulders, and oh my gosh, you know, said, look, you ever have a fight with your spouse about the temperature in your house? Yeah. Over how many degrees is the difference? Because if you can tell the difference between 70 and 73 degrees, you ain't living in the toughest time ever. You know, if you can tell the difference between low def and high def TV, you ain't living in the toughest time ever. Right? I mean, I remember when they were talking about high def coming out, I thought, what a waste. How could it be any better than this? Now we have one low def TV. I'm like, look at that crap. How could it ever have possibly? And I swear I think it's worse than it was before. Yeah. The other says, you know, if you go to the dentist and it involves, you know, anesthetic and watching TV, you ain't living in the toughest time ever. And if you think a tough ethical dilemma is whether an 89-year-old should get a hip replacement or not, whether we should pay for it, right? Just know that a very short 100 years ago, in the scheme of the time we've all been here, right? That was not an issue. Why? Because he was dead for 50 years, right? 40 years, right? And the average life expectancy concerned in the last century was 49.7 years old. That was the average life. We get like a whole extra air-conditioned life. So to me, at the foundation of all these discussions has to be, you know, this perspective that we have when we, you know, we're in the position, and many people are not in the same position we're in. We're in the position to be able to solve these problems. You know, you may not feel like you got a lot of power. You have 10 times the amount of power what the average person has. On the front lines of healthcare, you're in a big job. We've got the opportunity to do this. The question really, I think, is for us as well as our generation, not to get too philosophical, is whether we're going to step up or not.